Hello and welcome back to the Four Score Sports Podcast, your play-by-play source. I am Christian. I'm joined here with everyone alongside me, Spencer, Michael, Nick, and Brendan. Today we're going to be talking about the Eagles game this past Thursday and our Week 2 picks. Pretty simple today. So let's get straight into it. It was a fun Thursday game.
Oh, that was definitely a very interesting Thursday game.
It was enjoyable.
Shout out to Jay Jettas for being like one of the only bright spots on that Vikings team, because good lord.
Shout out to Jalen Hurts for being a god. The game was crazy. The game was crazy. The defense was very present, I will say. The defense was so good, and I've been saying this from the get-go, that DeAndre Swift is our number one back. And what did he do once he got the first back amount of carries? 175 yards and a touchdown. Freaking unreal. And Jalen Hurts is the strongest player in NFL history. Nobody can stop him. Homie got 3 sneak peeks in a row, bro. Actually, 4 he got. He got 2 for touchdowns, one they called a timeout right before, and then on a 4th down. So that play still proving to be immaculate. Unreal. Nobody can stop it. They know it's coming. Like, everyone knows it's coming and they can't stop it. So it's pretty good. And our defense was actually out of this world. Defensive coordinator Sean Desai, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. He's really good. The only reason they scored 28 is because the Eagles notoriously just kind of give up on defense when they're blowing teams out. They do it all the time, especially in the regular season. They just kind of like play really laxed, and they play what everyone calls prevent defense. They just don't want them to score, and they end up scoring a few times anyways. But still kind of controlled them the entire game. Didn't let them really get too much momentum. The Vikings turned the ball over like 6 or 7 times. Like, it was a really good game for us. And yeah, I mean, I can't complain. Eagles had got another dub, 2-0. You heard. Anyone else?
You're the Eagles fan.
Bro said it all.
Bro said everything.
Well,
I don't want to get too off topic here, but like, what are our thoughts on the QB sneak? I know a lot of people don't like it. Should ban it.
It's fine.
Well,
Jalen Hurts squats 600.
It's stupid to get upset about it.
It doesn't even matter, dude.
I wish Jared Goff could squat 600.
My fucking grandmother could score in that kind of QB offense. Anyways, that's besides the point. So, I want to give credit to Kirk Cousins for actually playing really well and trying to keep the Vikings in that game for as long as he did. The dude just gets hit too much. Between watching him the last 2 weeks, it's just he needs a solid O-line, and he's not getting any help. I don't know about the take of, oh my god, our defense is so good, except when they decide to give up. That is a horrid idea to just we're up by 3 scores. Let's stop caring. Like,
I didn't say they gave. They act like they give up. They just let them kind of do whatever. They're just trying to run the clock out pretty much. I mean, they also had 5 turnovers, so I don't know what else you want me to say. Like, sure, they're going to score touchdowns, and that's a high-powered offense. They can put up a lot of points. So I mean, yeah, the defense kind of controlled them the entire game. They did score a few touchdowns, but I mean,
didn't Justin Jefferson had over 150 yards, and Hawkinson had 2 touchdowns. I wouldn't really say that was controlled.
T.J. Hawkinson was the only one that had the touchdown through the first half, so it really came after we established a three score lead. That's when all the points came.
Yeah, and I don't know. And in my opinion, as a defensive coordinator, I would be very unhappy with my team if we let up a 3-score lead like that.
I mean,
like, granted, it wasn't a full comeback, but it is unacceptable for when I hear people ranting and raving about a team, and it was a 1-score game, and a receiver had 150 yards, and a tight end had 2 touchdowns, and Kirk Cousins had 4 passing touchdowns and almost 400 yards. Like,
I know.
You know, like on paper, it just doesn't look good.
But I also recognize the fact that that's not the only thing you look at when you're looking at a team's defense. I mean, it's the thing you notice first.
No, 100%.
But you also got to realize that our defensive line had, I think it was 70% of the snaps had Kirk Cousins under pressure in less than 3 seconds. And so I think when you add that into consideration with the fact that I know I'm usually not one to make this excuse, but we did not have our top two, or not our top two because Slay played, but we didn't have James Bradbury and Avonte Maddox, who is our 2 and 3 cornerbacks. So it was really just Slay and then whoever else we had on the bench. So I mean, I'm not trying to say that that's my excuse. And our starting safety was out too, so our secondary was very beat up. So the defensive line, I'm very proud of. The turnovers, very proud of. We managed to get them to turn the ball over. I think they had 3 fumbles. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. 3 fumbles we ended up recovering. It might have been 4. I don't know. I was tracking it on fantasy, and I don't think I got the point for the punt return fumble. So I think the defense did their job. Granted, yeah, like you said, like I would not like to let them come back. But to kind of see the fact that we had a 3-score lead at one point and then they just kind of came back, it's not great if you're, an Eagles fan thinking like, oh, what does this say if like we play a team that is a little bit better on offense? It's like, what are you going to do? But I think we took our lessons from, what Mac Jones did and we kind of like implemented it. We didn't let the tight end get over 100 yards. Although he got 2 touchdowns, which still needs to be worked on. But also, yeah, I mean, the Eagles played I'd say a pretty complete game with the exception of the secondary. But I still think it's pretty good. And I think the defense, it's something to be happy about that the defense was managed to create that many turnovers and our first round draft pick is literally just a pressure machine, even if he doesn't get the sacks. So I'm happy overall as an Eagles fan. I know it doesn't necessarily look like it on paper, but I think watching them and seeing the pressure that they were able to get is a really good sign.
Yeah, just watching from an outside perspective, or like even if you start on paper and then watch like actual film, it just between the Patriots and the Vikings, I don't think I'm nearly as impressed with this Eagles team this year as I was last time. It may be because I've seen it all, but at the same time, it looks like they're not as dominant as they were towards the end of last season, where they were blowing teams out by like 2, 3, 4 scores. Like
yeah.
You let Mac Jones come within 5 points of you, and then you let Kirk Cousins throw 4 touchdowns. Like, and granted, it is what it is. You're still winning games, but like, it's something as a coach I would want to address and be like, look, dog, we can't be doing shit like this. We cannot keep letting mediocre teams coming back like this. And honestly, I'm not nearly as impressed with Hurts this season as I was last season. I had, I'd been saying like I want him to prove that he is in the upper echelon of quarterbacks, and it just, that throw to Devonta Smith was really good.
The 2 of them.
But the yardage, like not necessarily yardage. We know he's more of a dual threat rather than a pure pocket passer. It's just that it doesn't seem like it's as much there this year as it was last year. It might be because it's only week 2. It got to get into a groove. I get it. It just, watching it, I don't see it as much as I did last season. And going back to the quarterback sneak thing, I don't really put that more on Hurts as I put that more on the O-line. Like that's just, textbook blocking from the O-line. If you can coach that, you win every time. Like you got to get the lowest man wins. That's something they taught us on the line all the time, is you just got to get low and just drive. And the Eagles O-line knows how to do that to a T. And then Hurts knows how to push with his legs a bit, and he knows how to get those going. So you've got, several men over several hundred pounds pushing, and then you've got your own leg strength on top of whatever the running backs are pushing you with. So it's unbeatable because of how they have that lined up, and we'll see if more teams try and pick it up, because I doubt if they're like, well, if we can't stop it, might as well do it ourselves. You know, I have a feeling that a lot of teams are going to try and go that route, but I don't think it should be taken away from football. I don't think it should be penalized because the quarterback sneak has been there for so long. And if they've just found a way to like almost perfect it, because I know they haven't scored all the time with that QB sneak.
I'm pretty sure they're like 90% successful with that play.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's not 100% foolproof though. Like, it can be stopped. It's just people are still trying to figure out how. And so, with that being said, it's still stoppable. So I don't think they should get rid of it at all. Just try and let people. You got to get creative. You got to figure out how to stop stuff. People still throw screens. Okay,
Yeah,
well, screens go for 75 yards, touchdowns. Wheel routes to run at checkdowns. Like, people throw those all the time and they go for touchdowns. Well, we can't stop them. We don't know how to cover it. And like, well, bro, just be a better coordinator. Like, it's not hard.
Yeah.
Just coach your like
Just get
literally
better.
just learn how to coach. There's film. Like, just get good. Literally just get good. So, I think the Vikings need a lot of help on the O-line. I think the Eagles need to have a conversation.
They had 2 starters on their offensive line,
Yeah.
including their center.
No.
So
Yeah,
I do
which
give them
hurts
credit.
a
I do
lot.
give
It
them
was
credit
very
for,
evident.
for trying and managing with that situation.
Yeah, it was evident they were missing starters. But overall, I think Kirk needs to have a serious talk with his offense and be like, look, y'all need to protect me. Jefferson and Addison are really the only ones putting in serious work here.
TJ.
And the Eagles coach needs to have a conversation being like, y'all are too talented to be letting 3 scores go like that. That's what I came away with from this game.
Yeah, and to your point about the 3 scores and the receivers, I will say, if this, I know I'm not trying to keep making excuses, but if this actually gives any type of reference to how just sloppy our pass game was, the offense had the passing game was 364 yards for the Vikings to only 28 rushing yards. They had 28 rushing yards the entire game. So, I mean, the defense is good and can hold the run. It's just those cornerbacks and DBs banged up, not playing our starters. You kind of let this kind of stuff happen. And I'm proud that they were able to keep their own, especially granted that we don't have our starting cornerback 2, cornerback 3, and safety. Like, that's a pretty big chunk of the team missing. And then I just think with Hurts, I'm also not as impressed with Hurts. I also understand that Hurts proved himself to us as Eagles fans last year. I'm not like expecting him to throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns every game. Also because of the fact that we can put up over 250 rushing yards. And we had 40 minutes of time of possession the entire game. Like, I think I'm satisfied with that, and still putting up 34 points while just running the ball down their throats. I'm very impressed with that, and I think that's not something to be... Obviously, it's something to look down, being like, hey, like, Jalen, like, why aren't you putting in more work? But also throwing 23 passes, you only get so many opportunities, and they're trying to be safe with Jalen. They had a lot of design QB runs that he just slid and didn't really do much, didn't even try for much. And then I'm just like, if you're not going to let him go like a running back, then don't have him run, like, at this point, because there was a few drives that ended in field goals or field goal attempts that they had a design quarterback run. They just made him slide before the yellow line. So I don't know. I agree with you, though. I think as a head coach, I think Nick Sirianni needs to sit down with the defensive coordinator and be like, you need to get your head in the game. Like, we cannot be letting them score 4 touchdowns. I do agree with that. It's a little bit absurd, especially for this Vikings team, but Justin Jefferson is a dog, and you knew it was going to happen regardless. Like, you can only hope to contain him, and you can only do so much.
Alrighty. Let's get into more of the, like, the upcoming games for tomorrow and Monday. So the first game we got pulled up here is the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. I think this one's tricky. I think I still have faith in Burrow. Last week was not good. As someone who has Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon in fantasy, I was not happy with him. Still won, but However, the Bengals have struggled against Cleveland in the past, and with Burrow, I think they've only beat Cleveland once since Burrow's gotten there. So I think it's just, Cleveland has Cincinnati's number. I think they're going to bounce back. I think Cincy can take this game tomorrow.
Yeah, so I think it's still fair to have faith in Burrow. Um, in this upcoming week, I'm trying not to let recency bias take over and say, "Oh, he's gonna fuck up again." Um, I don't think with how much he's being paid, I don't think he's gonna perform like that again. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go Bengals over Ravens here.
I'm really torn because I like Burrow. I think we all like Burrow here. Last week's performance was abysmal. You could have put a toddler at quarterback and probably gotten as many yards. So, going back to back on divisional games is really hard. So, and then getting smacked by Cleveland and then going up against, Baltimore. Baltimore's not they're not a pushover. So, I'm going to pick Baltimore solely off of the fact that going back to back divisional games is always a tough thing to do. I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati came out with the dub. I would be very happy, but I'm just going to take Baltimore simply off of the divisional fact.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals on this one. I feel like Joe Burrow's gonna have a bounce back week, and the Texans, in my opinion, the Ravens were not even very impressive against the Texans. Yes, they won by 2+ scores, but I mean it's the Texans. Come on, and it's Joe Burrow. It's the first week of the season. He's gonna shake off that rust, and on top of that, the Ravens, I think they had 4 guys go down last week, 4 starters, and based on the injury report I'm seeing right now, Marcus Williams, Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum, Marlon Humphrey, all out. And then Mark Andrews is still listed as questionable. I think Joe Burrow is going to have an easier time against a weaker Baltimore defense to really get his groove and get back into the swing of the NFL season, which he clearly didn't have last week. So I'm going to go with the Bengals here.
I think Brendan, you're actually right on with the injuries for Baltimore. They're kind of stacking up, especially losing J.K. Dobbins yet again for another year, which really, really sucks. I do really feel bad for the guy. He just can't catch a break on those injuries. But with that being said, I do honestly still have Baltimore winning this game. I mean, they handled the Texans, and I know it's the Texans, but what else can you do? They handled the Texans just so easy without really even breaking a sweat. Didn't even get to see, the full scale of what Lamar has to offer this season. And I know better than to say this, but I do actually think that there might be some struggles going on in Cincinnati, and I know the Browns have their number or whatever, but still doesn't kind of excuse the fact that you literally are getting paid millions of dollars to perform, and just because a team has your number doesn't mean you shouldn't. You could just get excused from playing poorly. I don't think he's going to play that poorly ever again. I do think that this is a one-off game. And maybe we did underestimate how good that Browns defense is, actually. But I do think that they might continue some struggle into next week, or into this week. And if you don't get T. Higgins in that offense, I think he had 1 target maybe last game. If you don't get T. Higgins in that offense, I don't foresee much success. And so, yeah, I still have Baltimore winning this game.
All right, next up, we got the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. The Seahawks, I don't know what happened, but they fell to my Los Angeles Rams. That was a fun game to watch. Yeah, I see you. We'll get there in a bit. The Lions, coming off of an impressive win over Kansas City. I'm a rock with Detroit on this one. I I've been saying this offseason, but I think Geno Smith's year was a fluke. Yeah, sure, he was great last year, but historically he's been the definition of mid. I saw exactly that this past Sunday. You know, what's going to stop DK from having another temper tantrum in the fourth quarter? And that's another thing with Seattle. Last week in the fourth quarter, I get it. They were down by a lot. Tempers were going, but they were just getting sloppy. There were so many offside penalties. DK shoving Witherspoon. Like, they have to be better disciplined. Because that's, like, if it were a much closer game, that would have absolutely cost them. But yeah, I'm going to go with Detroit on this one.
I'll go with Detroit too. I feel like having a good, impressive win, holding off the Chiefs, will have a lot of momentum that they'll carry into this next game against the Seahawks, who is a much easier opponent. I mean, just like anyone's easier than the Chiefs, right? But yeah, I'll take the Lions on this one as well.
Fuck Seattle. Go Detroit.
That works, I guess. I'm gonna go with Detroit here. A little bit more, little bit more into it. Obviously the win against Kansas City last week was amazing, but with that being said, it's like I feel like if the Kansas City receivers catch the ball, then it's a lot closer of a game than it should have been. In my opinion, that win was not as impressive as it should have been. In my opinion, this week against the Seahawks is more important of a game of last week against the Chiefs. Like, this game is actually going to show if the hype is real around Detroit. And I think what it comes down to for this game, what's going to be the key to winning, isn't exactly the skill positions. I know Seattle is loaded. They have 3 number 1 wide receivers. But what it's going to come down to, I think, is the defensive and offensive lines. I mean, for both teams. Because to my knowledge, I'm pretty sure the Seahawks left and right tackle are both out for this game, which means Aiden Hutchinson and Justin Houston are going to eat. It's going to be great. And I'm going with the Lions, obviously, for this one. And I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get more touches. And that guy is lightning in a bottle, and he's going to have a game, and the Lions are going to pull this one out because, bias. But I think it's going to be a close game, and it comes down to the trenches is what's going to decide this game, not necessarily the skill positions.
I agree totally. This is the real test for the Detroit defense, honestly, because Kansas City, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is amazing, but who is he throwing to? Honestly, nobody. If you want to count Kadarius Toney as a brick wall, go for it. I just think it's just Kansas City just had such a poor series of events. Like, they need some help on that receiving group, and we just saw Kansas City crumble. Seattle is a very talented offense. I'm going to say it's talented. I'm not going to say that they work well together, because obviously last week didn't quite work. But I do think that there's always potential for a bounce back week. Like I said with Cincinnati, I do think that they can bounce back, and I don't think that I do honestly think for Seattle that might be a one-off game. I like Geno Smith more than what I saw last week, and it's really, like I said, it's going to be a test for the Detroit defense, who had a pretty easy Kansas City offense, especially without Kelsey. So I think when you kind of combine that with the high-powered offense that is Detroit, I mean, that offense is looking really good all around. And like you said, Brendan, Jahmyr Gibbs is lightning in a bottle. Dan Campbell already said he's going to give him more touches. Can't wait to see him get more work in the receiving game, too. He had a pretty solid receiving game last week, too. I'm just excited. They've gotten a good bit of rest since last Thursday, so I'm excited to see them get out there and get a win. That's my pick, Detroit. Get a win this weekend.
All right. Next up, we got the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. I don't really care about this game. I'm gonna go with Indianapolis. Yeah, that's all I can really say, because I don't pay attention to these two teams that much.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the easy pick and go with the Colts as well.
Yeah, so honestly, if I remember correctly, this is the battle between 2 rookie quarterbacks, and trying to look at the roster between both of these teams is
I'm just gonna let Mike
honestly depressing. I know Richardson has Michael Pittman to throw to, and should have JT. I know he probably doesn't or won't. But the offense
Who
for the
was
Colts
mid-pick?
just looks better, in my opinion.
Or-
He wasn't too bad last week, if I remember correctly. So I'm gonna go with the Colts simply because I trust Richardson more than I trust anybody on that Houston offense. So yeah, that's just
You
kind
don't
of
trust the mathematician, C.J. Stroud?
the absolute
The
Harvard
mathematician.
graduate, C.J. Stroud couldn't count his way out of a wet paper bag.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Colts as well here. I mean, like you guys said, both young, up and coming quarterbacks with young teams around them. It's not necessarily a tank bowl in week 2 of the season, but it's definitely a snooze fest. And the Colts Jaguars game was a lot closer than the Texans Ravens game, where the Texans did not even score a touchdown, and also C.J. Stroud can't read the menu at a restaurant. So give me the Colts and Anthony Richardson.
I'm gonna take the Colts too. And the only really thing that I'm more of an Anthony Richardson guy myself. He has Michael Pittman, and he also has his own feet. I mean, he rushed for 40 yards and a touchdown last week. So, I mean, definitely not. I mean, not crazy, but like also he does have rushing upside. So, I like the Colts here. Not really much going. Houston's just gonna be pretty sad for a good few.
Yeah,
Good few
so
years, honestly, like
I don't
want
want
to
to be
it out over there.
that guy, but I'm all for the fucking CJ Stroud slander. I just gotta keep it rolling. I find it hilarious until this dude passes elementary math or gets over his tickle me Elmo doll head ass. I'm all for it. So I just found
Room
that a little
temperature
funny.
IQ.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but like, is this guy like actually this dumb? Like,
Dude,
what is,
so
what's the
there's like a quarterback IQ test or some shit they take during. Thank you. They take during the draft or like the combine. He's probably had one of the worst
Wonderlic.
scores in recent years. Like absolute like brainlet material.
Wasn't there some like weird quote too?
Yeah, I think there
I'll
was
check
a
right
weird
now.
quote following it. But like most of these guys, Andrew Luck, played not years ago, but he played a couple of years back.
Yeah, I remember.
He graduated from Stanford and had like a great score. Some of these
Real
guys
quick,
have real good scores.
I looked that up. First thing that comes up, what is C.J. Stroud's IQ?
So
What is his IQ? How bad is it?
It's got to be lukewarm.
Okay, so he got an 18% on the test. And he's also, yeah.
Can we pull up an average for the test?
Yeah, the quote was, "I'm not a test taker. I play football."
He had a 3.0 in college.
Yeah.
So I want to post that I want to remind everybody anytime that man loses, I'm not a test taker. I play football.
Oh, can I just comment, like, real quick? I don't, just off that, someone said that the Texans are a long way away from being relevant. I think they're 2 or 3 years, not a long way. I think they're getting together. I wanted to add that.
I think, look, D'Amico Ryans is a good coach. It's just,
That's why I said
you
a few
throw a
years,
good coach into a god-awful playing situation, it's going to take a hot minute to get where you need.
Well,
So
he's a good defensive coordinator. We don't know how he's coached yet. But
Okay, I found this article for the Wonderlic test. On average, janitors get a 14, warehousemen get a 15, security guards get a 17. CJ Stroud
cut an
scored lower than
18.
all of them.
Oh,
He scored lower than janitors.
you know what?
It's like
I want to make a segment where we all take the Wonderlic.
Oh God.
Hey, don't diss a
I want to.
next podcast.
We're
next
gonna.
podcast.
I want to title the segment. We got to write this down. Remember this. Are you smarter than CJ Stroud? I want it done.
Am I smarter than CJ Stroud? Anyways,
I'm
All
probably
right.
Anyway, let's
Okay.
move on.
next game we got pulled up is the Chicago Bears and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm gonna go with Tampa on this one. I was one of the people I wasn't delusional about Chicago. Why are you making that face? I said they could be good.
I'm just remembering how bad they were last week.
Yeah. I think they still do have the potential to do better this year, but going off of last week's performance, I don't know. I don't know, man. And as for Tampa, coming out of an impressive win over Minnesota, and of course Baker touchdown maker over here, I'm gonna go with Tampa.
I'll go with Tampa as well. Let Baker bake.
Let Baker bake, baby.
So the fact that Chicago lost to the Love Maker is not a good look on
Love
them.
Daddy.
I was gonna try and make a Godfather reference, and I can't think of anything, so I'm just gonna move on.
What did they do to my boy?
So the fact that Chicago lost to a quarterback, everybody and their mom was, slandering. Oh, he's not gonna be Aaron Rodgers. I mean, obviously he's not gonna be Aaron Rodgers, but the fact you let that man dunk 31 on you, and Aaron Jones come out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere, but like just over the top tomahawk 360 dunk on the Bears was kind of interesting. I was impressed with Tampa and how they played against Minnesota. I don't hate Baker. I'm kind of in the middle about Baker. I found though the interview after the quotes, the Drake quotes, or referencing his albums, was really funny. So solely off of that reason and Chicago losing to the Love Maker, I'm taking Tampa on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tampa as well. Just because, I was wrong to doubt week 1 Baker in a new system. Let me tell you, Baker Mayfield in the first week of a new system is the second best football player I've ever seen in my life. We're going to get to the best player in a little bit with a future pick, but I was wrong to doubt him. Let Baker bake. Chicago sucks. Justin Fields is a running back. Give me the Bucks all day long.
Glorified running back moment.
Before I make my pick, I'm just going to say this flat out. I don't think Justin Fields had that bad of a game. I don't think it was that bad. They put up 20 points. Not awful. Okay? Not as bad as other teams did and other teams are.
Kenny Pickett moment.
Yes.
Therefore, I am still going Tampa Bay because that Tampa Bay team actually did prove something good in week 1. Now, Justin Fields did not have he didn't have a horrible game. He didn't have a great game, but he still had a pretty solid performance. I think DJ Moore's getting really just thrown into that offense. I think he's learning it still, which is really sad.
It also
because it's
didn't
not a
help.
hard offense. I still think the team has some.
It also didn't help
ahead.
Chicago that Chase Claypool. I have no idea how to say this.
An absolute obelisk of a human being.
Yeah. I'm sure if Claypool even put a small bit of effort, Chicago would have had a better game.
Blood forgot he was playing football.
Yeah. And I do still think that team has a pretty talented offense. Now, granted, they still need to work it out together, but I do still think that offense is talented. Defense was abysmal, letting Jordan Love throw to God knows who. But still, like I said, I'm more impressed with the Buccaneers winning in week 1, and Baker had a pretty solid game. It wasn't a terrific game. He only threw for 173 yards, so it wasn't crazy, but still, they got the win. They managed to keep Justin Jefferson out of the end zone. He hasn't been in the end zone once this season, still put up 300 yards. And Rachaad White's in a really terrible situation, and that's all I'm going to say. Give me Tampa Bay, lock it in.
Alrighty, next up we got a playoff rematch between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Kansas City is going to have both Chris Jones and Travis Kelce tomorrow. So we'll see the Chiefs at their, full strength, full potential. I know Jacksonville was able to give them a bit of a game, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what the score was, but I think I'm going to go with Kansas City tomorrow.
I got a feeling.
Oh no.
That's tonight's gonna
Oh, no.
be a good.
I got a feeling that.
Tonight's gonna be
I got a feeling that Jacksonville somehow, some way, I don't know what's telling me that they will do it. but they will upset Kansas City. And there will be a conversation somewhere down the line in the Kansas City locker room with somebody saying, okay, we got to get our shit together. But I think tomorrow, tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I think tomorrow,
Yep.
Jacksonville will win by a pretty reasonable score.
Yeah, real quickly, I looked it up. Yeah, the playoff game, it was 27-20. So they were only down by a touchdown. And that game was in Kansas City, too. So it'll probably be a close game, but yeah.
Mr. Saturday, lock it in.
That's 2 for Jacksonville, baby.
Mr. Saturday.
Make it 3 for Jacksonville, baby. Listen.
Ooh.
Listen. Patrick Mahomes, Jackson Mahomes' brother. This is the beginning of the Chiefs' downfall. I don't think you guys understand. Detroit has been leaving a trail of destruction ever since last season. It started with Aaron Rodgers getting his ass out of Green Bay, and now the Kansas City Chiefs downfall begins this week. Detroit started it. Jacksonville will finish it. I'm taking a gamble here, and I'm putting everything on Jacksonville.
Bro, put the mortgage on Jacksonville.
Whoa. That was a pick right there. That was a quite a way to present that pick. I'm just gonna put it out there. I do think Kansas City wins this game. They only lost to Detroit by a point, and I do think Detroit is a much better team than Jacksonville. However, looking at Jacksonville's team's pretty solid. Defense is pretty good. Trayvon Walker actually proved to be a first overall pick. Calvin Ridley thriving in the offense. Zay Jones is amazing pass catcher. I do think that there's a lot of talent in that offense for Jacksonville. However, Kansas City gets their 2 of their 3 best players back, and they only lost last week by 1 point, and Patrick Mahomes was literally throwing to a bunch of plumbers. So I think I'm just gonna say you get Kelsey back in that offense, and the offense kind of starts to figure it out on its own, and Patrick Mahomes can make really something out of nothing and almost beat the Lions with literally nothing. So I'm still gonna take Kansas City. However, there's nothing I'd love to see more than Kansas City get destroyed.
Yes, sir. Up next, we got the Green Bay Packers and the Atlanta Falcons. I think I'm going to go with Green Bay on this one. I liked what I saw from Jordan Love last week, the Love Daddy. And I'm still not entirely sold on Atlanta. I haven't looked at the stats, and I only watched a bit of that game, so I'm not sure how well Ritter did. I think if I'm correct, Bijan had a pretty solid game last week. I think Christian Watson is playing tomorrow for Green Bay. He is, yeah. I think he's questionable.
He'll probably play.
I think I'm still gonna go with Green Bay on this one.
Is Aaron Jones in?
Also questionable.
Okay.
I got it pulled up.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm going Green Bay. Jeez.
So Spencer, you going cheese too, or what?
I'm
You going cheese or squaw?
I'm gonna have to rock it with the cheeseheads. I actually really liked what I saw from Jordan Love. But I think he's got a lot of potential, and especially playing without his number 1 receiver in Christian Watson, did a really good job. So if Watson does come back this week, I am taking a look at it right now. It says he did play Friday's practice. As a limited participant, he still is questionable. I think it would be really good for him to come back, but also don't rush injuries. So if Aaron Jones, I don't think they're expecting him to play. If it's honestly a toss-up if neither of them play, but I still want to take Green Bay. But if either one of them plays, or both, I'm taking Green Bay all the way there.
I don't like being biased. I really don't. I may have the Lions jersey on, but I don't like being biased. With that being said, I gotta go with the Falcons. I can't see Jordan Love and the Packers pulling this one out. They went against the Chicago Bears, which consists of Justin Field, DJ Moore, and then a bunch of mailmen and plumbers across the entire offense and defense. Jordan Love has yet to face a real defense. And then that offensive line with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, it's going to be too much to handle. I'm going with the Falcons.
That's crazy.
I'll agree to disagree with you on that one, but I think personally Jordan Love put on a clinic against Chicago. I mean, really was throwing to nobody, made Aaron Jones literally look like the best receiver in the league, and he only had 2 catches. But I just think regardless of if Aaron Jones or Watson plays, I think Green Bay is still the better team. I'm not entirely sold on the Desmond Ridder show as much as it is just a running back team. Like, that team is literally Tyler Algier and Bijan. And if you want to consider Kyle Pitts an offensive threat, like, that's it. Drake London was non-existent last week. If they get Drake London, maybe they have a chance. But if you don't get Drake London in that offense, it literally is going to be Kyle Pitts 2.0, and you're going to lose every single game from here on out. It's just ridiculous. And I get it. Carolina should have probably put more of a competition up. But come on. Drake London, your great receiver, like the only receiver in your offense. What are you doing letting him get no catches and like 1 target I think he got? What, like, come on. And Bijan is literally the greatest running back of all time. That's all I need to say. But still, give me the Packers by a score of 28-3.
Not the 28-3.
Not the 28-3.
Give it to me. Put it on lock.
Before we move on, I do want to say
28.
Buck Desmond Ridder for not throwing a single goddamn pass to Drake London. I needed that fool in fantasy, and I didn't get shit. So I'm pissed about it.
I mean, why would you ever throw it when you have, Bijan and Algier in the backfield?
Bijan Ballsack Robinson. No,
Bijan Daddy.
No, real.
No, but for real, throw to Drake London, please. I beg.
Please, I have him on my fantasy team, please. Anyways.
All right, up next we got the Las Vegas Raiders and the Buffalo Bills. The Raiders coming off of a good win last week against Denver. Technically, Raiders are number 1 in the AFC West right now. That being said, this is Buffalo's game. The game is in Buffalo as well. So, I think this is Buffalo's game to take.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with Buffalo as well here. I think they'll shake off that rush from last week, and they'll just go and take it from them.
Okay. I'm going to say this as nicely as possible. There are only 2 ways Josh Allen plays football. And it is either the greatest quarterback we've ever seen in the modern era or a fucking Make-A-Wish child. There is no in between. That man either has the football IQ of 200 or has bricks for legs. And against New York, I don't know if he was colorblind and couldn't tell whose jerseys were whose, but dude threw to Jets corners more than he threw to his own receivers. And it broke my heart because I started him in fantasy.
So did I.
It hurt. I won that game. I needed 2 points and I got him. But to say that was the most stressful 2 points of my life is an understatement. So with that being said, I hope Josh Allen remembers he is a football player. He does play for a great franchise and gets paid to play for that franchise.
Not a great franchise.
They've got a good history, but
4 straight Super Bowls.
they still went to the Super Bowls. But that's besides. They still went. Besides the point. I'm taking Buffalo. I don't trust the Raiders that much. I especially don't trust the Raiders defense against that Buffalo offense. Buffalo, lock it in.
Gotta go with everyone else here. Although I live in Vegas, my friends, family, coworkers, Raiders fans, I just can't see the Raiders winning this game. The only person Jimmy Garoppolo threw to last game is lying in bed right now with like mashed potatoes for brains right now. I know you guys saw that Jacoby Myers hit. And he's out for this game. And Buffalo's just too damn talented. Who's Jimmy going to throw to? I mean, yes, he has Devontae Adams, but the only person he threw to last game was Jacoby Myers, and he's out this game.
Maybe he'll throw to Devontae this
Buffalo's
time.
too talented, and Josh Allen's going to get his shit together, or I'm trading him in fantasy.
Okay, so my pick for this game is going to be Buffalo. Not really much to it. I do think Buffalo is just the more complete and total team. I mean, you can say what you want about Josh Allen's 3 interceptions last game, but I mean, he's still a great quarterback. I mean, it's kind of like the same argument as Joe Burrow and like how he had a not great first game. So I think a lot of these star quarterbacks are just not having great first weeks. So definitely a big bounce back potential, and the team's still good. I mean, they lost to the Jets in what was arguably just not their fault. Like that was just a crazy kick return. Like there's nothing much you can do about that. So I do still think that the Bills got this one in the bag.
All right. Next up, we got the last game in the morning slate. We got the Los Angeles Chargers and the Tennessee Titans. I think I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one. They had a really good game against Miami last week. They did lose, of course, but still, I mean, putting up, I forget what the exact number was, 30-something points. Yeah, and then against a team like Tennessee who's still trying to figure stuff out, yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one.
Pretty easy pick for me. I think Herbert's going to beat Ryan over the hill. And I think it's this Chargers for the taking. It's just as simple as that.
Herbmeister, lock it in. No, but honestly, I think I think the Chargers really have this one at least a little better of a lock than last week. Playing Miami and Tyreek having an absolute track day, and Tua had a great game. That's really hard to come up against. But I mean, this week I think they definitely got this more in the bag. So I'm gonna take Chargers.
I'm going to go with the Chargers, too. No Eckler this week, unfortunately. Ripped my fantasy team. But listen to this. All right. The Chargers, more complete team. Justin Herbert's that guy. And listen, okay? DeAndre Hopkins played one game with Ryan Tannehill and decided to go back to school at Clemson to get his degree. That's all you need to know. Ryan Tannehill is not him. Justin Herbert is. No Eckler, doesn't matter. Chargers.
I think it's a lock for the Chargers. I think this is the matchup that I'm most confident about in who's going to win. I just think it's an all-around. It's just going to be a beatdown. No Eckler this week, like you said. RIP my fantasy team, but Joshua Kelly on the same amount of carries as Eckler last week had 91 yards and a touchdown. Very much able to pick up the slack. They got to really figure out who's going to also take some carries from Joshua Kelly. Just to make sure that the offense doesn't get worn out. But, I mean, you still look at the offensive just threat that Justin Herbert is, and he was playing out of his mind against Miami and just couldn't quite keep up with Tyreek Hill's insane speed. But, I mean, then you go against Tennessee, who had an abysmal week 1. Derrick Henry just wasn't as powerful as he was in the last few years. Like you said, D-Hop just decided, I'm going to go back to school, and they'd have no one else. It's just the Titans are looking really sad right now. Still managed to only lose by 1 against the Saints, though, which is something to note about maybe their defense. Maybe their defense is gonna help them, but against a team that put up 34 points last week, forget about it. It's over. Give me the Chargers.
All right. So that does it for the morning slate. First game up in the afternoon slate would be the San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Rams. Both teams coming off of a win. San Fran absolutely demolished Pittsburgh, and the Rams with a really impressive win over Seattle. I am going to go with the Rams on this one. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to go with San Fran on this one. Seeing as this is not a postseason game, it's merely a regular season game. I'm going to go with San Fran on this one.
I got a feeling.
Oh, no. Good Lord.
I got a feeling.
I hope.
So, I think the Rams will win. I think with mostly everybody saying that the Rams were not going to do great against Seattle, and then they showed up to play, just saying, well, not necessarily proving them wrong, but more of showing that they're still a team that has its path somewhat figured out. Um, I will say the Rams will take that afternoon game.
I will say I forgot to mention this, but Puka Nakua had a great game last week. So did Tutu Atwell. I think those might be some names to look out for moving forward. Cooper Kupp is, of course, still on IR. I did see earlier he's expected to maybe come back around week 5. If that's the case and we're still relatively healthy by then, I think this Rams team can be a team to be on the lookout for. But at least for tomorrow, I'm still going to go with the 49ers.
Okay, let's do this. So, this is the first time Brock Purdy is playing against Los Angeles. This is the first time Los Angeles will be facing the wrath of the four horsemen, being McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo, and Kittle, all at once. Not to mention the number 1 defense in the league. This is a Niners home game. They are wearing the red jerseys. They are tracking tickets saying 65% are San Fran fans. This is a lock for San Francisco. No way, shape, or form is this going anywhere else.
What did you call those people? The four
horsemen.
That is so cringe.
Come talk to me when you beat San Fran in a game.
I'm just saying it's cringe. I don't care about the record. I'm just saying that's cringe.
If only it were the postseason.
Oh, the postseason you won't get to? Because that's kind of crazy.
And the one that you won't make it all the way through?
Yeah, we're the best team in the league right now. There's no advantage.
Actually, you want to know something? As of right now, the Rams are number 1 in the NFC West.
Yeah, because you won a divisional game and you're about to lose that title on Sunday. So
We'll see. I believe Bren had something he wanted to say, though.
Listen here, Spencer. All right. Since I was a baby in diapers, I have watched that man, number 9, win games he had no business winning. All right.
Wearing that jersey
I have
right
watched
now.
him carry teams of, again, mailmen and plumbers to the playoffs, and I doubted him last week. I did, and I'm not going to doubt him again. Matthew Stafford, on a shitty team, is the greatest football player I have ever seen in my life. All right, listen, you may have McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle, Debo, Shmibo. It don't matter. Rams by 10.
In other words, I think what Brent's trying to say, it's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. I think that's really what Brent's trying to say. But with that being said, I look at Matthew Stafford's game last week. He had a great game, really doing something with nothing. But that 49ers team, what else could you ask for them to win 30-7? I mean, like, you could ask, give me some more points or stop them from scoring a touchdown, but come on. Stop sleeping on them. I'm not even a 49ers fan, and I felt offended by those picks. I think as a team, if you're
Stafford
fielding
legacy.
Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle on the same offense with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, say what you want. Brock Purdy's not the greatest, but I feel like any solid quarterback is doing good with that team. That defense, locked down. The only problem that I foresee the 49ers facing is against the greatest linebacker of all time, Zach Van Valkenburg. Other than that,
Brother, I don't even know who that is.
I don't think that the 49ers have any chance of losing this game. Sorry, I like the Rams week 1, but come on. How are you going to sleep on Brock with the massive, massive cock? You can't. You can't sleep on him. Give me the 49ers.
listen, before we move on.
So moving on.
No. Before we move on. We don't need all 4 of them to beat the Rams because we've done it many a time. But the fact that Ayuk was straight mossing a man and went absolutely, yeah, you're looking like what Matthew Stafford's gonna look like on Sunday. He's got a good.
Is that a threat?
Yes.
Because Warner's a dirty player, yeah.
Yeah, because you can't cope on how to play actual football. So you've got
Says
to
the guy
deal
who
with.
needs to go out of his way to hurt people. Yeah.
Just sounds like you're weak. Because when I say that about the Eagles, Mr. Walker over here decides to
Well,
come
I'm
and
not
go.
Mr. Walker, am I?
He goes, well, that's just Hassan Reddick. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. But if you can't handle playing football like that, then that's crazy. Anyways, so you've got to deal with that 49ers front row.
The Eagles are dirty. I don't care what you say.
But you deal with that front row. Bosa's coming back. Drake Jackson had 3 sacks against Pittsburgh. You've also got Javon Hargrave, Javon Kinlaw. Did I say his name right, Nick? Is it Javon Hargrave, or did I mess that up?
You mean the guy on your team?
Yeah. That's good.
I don't know his first name like that. I've only seen him referred to as Hargrave. Eric Armstead, Mooney Ward had a pick. Tolano Hufunga had a pick. Warner almost had a pick. That defense it just walks on people. It happened the last couple of seasons. It's happening this season. The offense is firing on all cylinders. Everybody is healthy that I am aware of, besides maybe a couple, secondary players who were on, IR, but they were lower on the depth chart. So I don't see San Francisco just letting this go. Even if I understand people have great appreciation for Matt Stafford, and I'm not dissing Stafford in any way. The dude's getting old, and just I don't see, with this Rams team, I don't see them going very far. So you put up the Niners, the best this Niners team is probably going to be in the next couple of years. Yeah, I don't see LA putting up a fight.
We're gonna witness
were
a
the
Matthew
postseason,
Stafford
it might be a difference.
legacy
Stop
game.
sleeping on Zach.
tomorrow.
You keep holding that one postseason game like we haven't beat the Rams in the postseason before, or haven't beat you for the last 8 or 9 games straight. You hold
Well,
the
it hasn't been 8 or 9 straight because there was the one.
regular season. Regular season, you guys have not beat us since 2018 in the regular season.
Okay, what about postseason?
We've beat you in the postseason
What
before.
about the last time?
Stop sleeping on Zach Van
Here we go.
Valkenburg.
Nobody cares about Zach Van Valkenburg.
I might have to get a Valkenburg jersey. Next up, we got the New York Giants and the Arizona Cardinals. The Giants had an abysmal game last week. I was looking forward to watching that game, even though I hate watching Dallas play. But man, around the third quarter, I just came out to my garage and was just playing drums because they were up 30-0. What was the point in watching? Yeah. Against a team like Arizona, who's also hot garbage, I couldn't give less of a shit about this game. I think I'm going to go with New York because I feel overall they're the better team. But, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to head on with New York here. I feel like the Giants can recuperate with this matchup against the Arizona Cardinals, which no one sees anything in, really. So we'll just go ahead and go with the Giants here.
I genuinely could not name you a single player on that Arizona Cardinals team anymore.
I wouldn't blame you. Hang on.
I genuinely have no clue who's on that team. While New York had an awful game on, what was it, Sunday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna be like that again. I'm taking the Giants.
I mean, who are we kidding? I'm taking Saquon and friends over the Cardinals because I can at least name 2 players on the Giants. I for the life of me can't name one on the Cardinals personally. Maybe Budda Baker, but I don't even think he's playing personally. Same with James Conner, but I'll take the Giants just cause.
Damn, I can't believe you can't remember the future Hall of Famer Zach Ertz, but it's all right. I understand.
Not
I
even.
Joshua Dobbs.
Not even, bro.
I forgot he's a Cardinal.
I
Listen,
thought he retired.
last week wasn't awful for the Cardinals. I honestly
They
wasn't
were
even
also playing
expecting them to
Washington.
score a touchdown, and yet they scored a touchdown. So I'm going to give them credit where credit's due for that one.
They were also playing Washington,
As
though.
much as I'd like to think that, I'm pretty sure it was a defensive touchdown anyways. But they still scored a touchdown, which proves that they're competent enough to score. I I think it's kind of tough when you don't have your starting quarterback, I think, in any situation, especially when that quarterback is Kyler Murray, literally the Call of Duty professional esports player himself. But I think it might be a little bit closer than people would like to give it, especially considering it was only a 4-point game with the Commanders, and the Giants put up literally nothing against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are a much better team, but still putting up 0 points is very sad, like very sad. And Daniel Jones just didn't play well, couldn't complete passes. I don't know. As much as I'd like to say, yeah, this was just Dallas being that much better, I do think that this is an example of a team is hitting the panic button right now, because Saquon looked very unimpressive. There was no throwing. There was no passes. The only competent receiver that Daniel Jones has is Darren Waller right now. It's just there's not a great recipe, and that defense is just can't keep anyone out of the end zone to save their lives. So give me, let's see, I don't even know who I think. Honestly, I'm still taking the Giants, but I think it's going to be a very close game.
Yeah. Next up, we got the New York Jets and the, once again, nationally televised Dallas Cowboys. Again, I know I did this rant last week, but I fucking hate how much they're nationally televised because, again, no one outside of Dallas wants to watch that fucking team. But the Jets, coming off of an impressive Monday night win over Buffalo, and of course, can't really address the Jets without addressing the elephant in the room. Aaron Rodgers out for the season. Zach Wilson didn't look all that bad the other night. But of course, losing future Hall of Fame quarterback is going to be a huge blow to that offense. Maybe just having this one off season to learn from someone like Rodgers is going to be beneficial for someone like Wilson. I think I'm going to go with. Actually, no. I think I'm going to go with the Jets. I'm going to go with the Jets this week.
Let in with all that. I'm sorry. I just think the Cowboys are going to be the better team here. I mean, you see how they shut down one New York team. Here comes the second New York team, and I think the Cowboys are just going to win again. So simple as that.
Uh-oh.
I was going to make a President Bush joke, but I'm going to leave it out. No, but on an actual note, I'm going to take the Jets, simply because I think that the Jets are in a better position with the MILF Slayer at quarterback than the Giants were going into that spot against Dallas. So I think Zach Jones is not Zach Jones. Oh, I'm mixing up my quarterbacks from that draft class now. Zach Wilson will have a good game. I don't know how he's going to fare yards, completions wise. But I think with how that defense is set up for the Jets, I think it's going to really give the Jets offense a lot of opportunities to try and, show Dallas who's a boss in the name of New York. So lock in my pick for the Jets.
See, I was going to pick the Jets to be silly, to be goofy, to be funny. But now we've had two people pick the Jets. I have faith in former second overall pick, MILF Hunter, Zach Wilson himself. I don't think there's a better quarterback to have at the helm of the Jets than Zach Wilson. And yes, the Cowboys are the more complete team, dominated Dallas last game, and has everything going for them. But just for that reason, I'm going to pick the Jets.
I know you did not just say he's the best option for that team, but
I think who are you going to bring in instead?
Carson
I did
Wentz.
see they're looking to bring in not Carson.
Bro doesn't know the system.
Anyways, he doesn't need to know the system. He's the greatest quarterback to ever live. Anyways, I am going to pick the Jets here because I just like what they're cooking. I like the defense is still good, even though they lost their great, the great Aaron Rodgers. The defense is still remarkably good and kept Josh Allen to only 16 points and 3 interceptions. Personally, I think that's really good still for the defense. CeeDee Lamb's going to have a really tough matchup this week. The rest of the receiving group did not get nearly as involved last week for Dallas. They didn't really need to be fair. I just think that the defense is much better than the Giants. So I think Dallas is going to come in way more confident and get shut down way easier. And the running back duo of Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook is one of the best in the NFL. And without a doubt, Breece Hall is a superstar and a stud. He's going to get more carries, so just wait. He put up 127 yards on 10 carries last week. He's going to do more this week. Lock it in.
We all just hate the Cowboys, huh?
Hell yeah.
Yes, for personal
I hate
bias
Dallas.
reasons.
Yeah.
Next up, we got the Washington Commanders and the Denver Broncos. Washington coming off of I fumbled right there. Washington coming off of a win against Arizona, and Denver coming off of a loss against Vegas. I think Denver's going to bounce back, though. That game, they only lost by 1, and Will Lutz missed, I believe he missed an extra point and a field goal. So if he had made those, Denver likely would have won that game. But I think against a team like Washington, who I don't believe is as good as Vegas, I think Denver's going to bounce back. I think Sean Payton is going to get his first win as the Broncos head coach. And yeah.
I don't really know who to pick here, only because I'm not very familiar with either of these franchises, especially now. So I just honestly flipped a coin. I'm just going to go with Denver. Very unsure how strong of a pick that's going to be, but yeah.
I'm sorry, I turned my brain off. Who is Denver playing again?
Washington.
Oh, right. Forgettable franchise. Honestly, it's a really hard pick for me to make because it's between, Sam Howell, the GOAT, and my point exactly. And Mr. Subway himself, Russell Wilson. So I have a really weird faint memory of Russell Wilson in a Subway commercial, and it hasn't left my vision since.
Wasn't that last season?
I think it was last. And it was awful. It was terrible.
Well, didn't Subway end up pulling the deal?
It did. They
Because
did.
he was so bad?
It was so bad. I had more bathrooms than I did touchdown passes. That it was also a true stat until I want to say week 16.
No, I think
He had 13. He had 12 bathrooms and didn't pass 13 touchdown passes until like week 16 or 17.
Like he has
12 bathrooms in his house. In his house.
Oh my god.
So, I do like Sean Payton, and I understand that Vegas, for some odd reason, has Denver's number. With that being said, I kind of want to take Washington. Something in my gut is telling me to take Washington. I got a feeling. I got a feeling. Listen, I had to cop it for just this one. But yeah, I'm gonna take Washington.
All right. I'm not gonna lie. It was a coin flip for me, but the thought of the Dangerous sandwich as a former Subway worker has made me heavily lean on the Commanders now. The trauma that stupid little BMT with provolone cheese on Italian urban cheese with lettuce, green peppers, tomatoes, banana peppers, olive mustard, and mayo made me hate Russell Wilson.
Wait, did anybody actually
The
order
trauma,
it?
it brought that in the beef mode. Don't even
Did
get me
anybody
started on
actually
that.
order
No.
it?
I've always been a closet Commanders fan since they sucked, since they were the football team and the prior name. I'm gonna go with the Commanders here just because the trauma.
the
and
natives,
I'm a closet Commanders fan.
the Washington natives.
The Danger Witch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
I-
2 years.
Hang on real quick. Like Spencer said, did anyone actually order that sandwich?
Yes.
No
A
shot.
lot of people.
Yes. What's that NFL promo you guys got going on right now? God help me.
Hey, you know that one quarterback? What's that guy's name? Russell Wilson. Yeah, let me get his
Hey
sandwich.
Yo, Ciara's husband.
It was the saddest little thing ever.
The stepdad to Future's children. Yeah, let me get a sandwich.
This time. Oh yeah.
More people ordered a sandwich than he had touchdowns last week.
This. Anyways, I'm I'm gonna make my pick right now. I was originally gonna go Denver. I just think that Denver had so much potential last week, and they just fell really short. The offense just did not look impressive whatsoever. Nothing impressed me about that Denver Broncos team. Maybe their defense only letting a team score 17 points, but other than that, nah, I'm taking the Commanders on this one, as much as I would not like them to go 2-0 and creep up on my Eagles, but I just realized that team is actually maybe a little bit more well-rounded than we originally thought. And, I mean, if you can stomach Sam Howell one more week, I think it's worth it because it's just they're a good team. I mean, they're a solid team. Not a good team, just a solid team. But solid is what it takes to beat Denver right now, so I'll take it.
All right.
Underrated.
Next up, we got the Sunday night matchup. I think this game can be good. We got the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. Miami coming off of a very good win against the Chargers, and New England, going toe-to-toe with the almost Super Bowl champions. I think this is Miami's game, though. I really like Tua. I've been a Tua supporter since his rookie year when everyone was doubting him. Yeah, I got Miami in this game. I think Tyreek Hill is going to pop off.
I'm also going to go with with Miami. I also just support Tua as well. I don't have much to say here. I just think the Dolphins are going to win.
She's a runner. She's a track star. Lock me in for the 305.
You guys are
Don't do
underestimating Vanilla Vic, Mac Daddy, my boy, Mr. Jones. That being said, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. Just in my opinion, just more complete, more dangerous team. Patriots, they're getting there, though.
Did you just call him Vanilla Vic? First of all, he was a rushing quarterback, and second of all, he was left-handed, so they have nothing in common.
Have you seen Mac Jones run the ball?
I
Have you
watched
seen
him run the
rock?
ball twice against the Eagles, and he did not do much.
Yeah, buddy.
So I don't know what you're
buddy.
talking about.
Second coming of Steve Young? Question
That's all
mark.
you need to know.
I think he could be better.
Brady
than
the
Steve
second,
Young.
as I call him.
Brady the second. Good God. Chunky white boy, get it poppin'.
Brady the second Vic edition.
Now you're just saying words.
Bro is
None
random.
of those
Always
words
talking.
were in the Bible. None of those words were in the
Our
Bible.
I think
Words
Mac
being
Jones was prophesized in the book of Revelation.
Go read the Bible right now. Mac Jones is in there.
Jones was the 11th commandment.
Thou shalt not
Anywho's
throw the rock
I'm-
like I do.
Threw the stone tablets off the mountain.
And straighten in Akil Harry's hands.
Jones,
Dolphins by 20.
I think Mac Jones had a good game against the Eagles defense, to be completely honest. Didn't really convert to many touchdowns, but still threw the ball 54 times, which is, honestly fucking ridiculous. So I like the amount of volume that Mac Jones gets, and they spread that ball around very, very well. So I think that's a really good sign if your offense can be that deep that you can just spread the ball around to whoever and be reliable. But with that being said, the Dolphins are just way too good right now, just running off of just an insanely hot offense. Tua and Tyreek are just the greatest quarterback wide receiver duo in the league right now. Nobody's close. Anyways, give me the Dolphins. Lock it in.
All right. Next up, we got the first of two Monday Night Football games. We got the New Orleans Saints versus the Carolina Panthers. I forgot what the Panthers did last week. I know New Orleans won. Carr, looking at his
Panthers
stats, Carolina lost. Yeah, who were they playing again last week?
The Falcons.
Oh, no, that was
They
Atlanta.
lost-
That's right.
They only scored like 10.
Falcons.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, New Orleans coming off of a win. I'm looking at Carr's stat line right now from last week. 305 yards, 1 touchdown. Pretty solid. Did have an interception, but overall led the team to a win. I think Carr and the Saints can make it work this week again. Give me New Orleans.
There's nothing I see really going on with the Panthers in my eyes, at least. As an outsider, that probably is an invalid statement to say, but I'm just going to go with the Saints as well.
Okay. Listen. Do you remember the kid from Toy Story 1?
Derek Carr, yeah.
Yes, Derek Carr. Have you ever seen Derek Carr compared to Sid?
No, I haven't.
Okay, we're gonna
Identical.
pull up a picture and pull. You need to pull up Derek Carr right now, and you pull up Sid. It is horrid how hilarious it is.
Hey, say what you want, man. Sid can throw.
He knows how to toss.
Better be spot.
It's No, you gotta
looks nothing like it.
pick one where he's like looking down, dude. Where he's doing the glare when he's hitting the glare. Anyways, besides the point. I'm taking Sid. I almost said Sid the Science Kid. That's a completely different show. Completely different PBS show.
That's a little better.
I'm gonna take him and the Saints over mediocrity, also known as Carolina. So that's all I really have to say. I just thought that Sid the Science that Sid from Toy Story joke was funny.
I don't really see much happening in Carolina either. And Bryce Young is short. That's really all that matters. Yeah, give me the Saints.
Give me the Saints. Nothing is impressing me with this Panthers team. I honestly didn't really have much hope for them. They're spreading the ball around pretty decently, I guess. Bryce Young already has a pair of picks, and that's 2 more feet taller than he is. So I'll just give me the Saints. Give me that team. I think they're really good.
All right, and then the last game we have for week 2 would be the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cleveland coming off of a very impressive win against the Cleveland Browns, against the Cincinnati Bengals. I know the Browns have had the Bengals number for a couple years now, but nonetheless, still a very impressive win. And then Pittsburgh coming off of an embarrassing loss to the 49ers.
199 to 1.
199 to 1.
That
awful
That
game.
number baffled me when I saw that.
Yeah, awful game. This game is in Pittsburgh, but I think I'm still going to go with Cleveland on this one.
Yeah, I'll stick with Cleveland as well. They'll probably they'll take last week's result as shutting down Joe Burrow and taking that and turning it into energy into this next game against the Steelers. But I think they'll take their second win of the week here or year. Excuse me, second win of the year.
Myles Garrett and Steelers quarterbacks don't mix. I'm taking the Browns solely for that reason. I don't know if what's his name, Mason Rudolph. I don't even think he's still in the league. I don't even know if he's still in the league. I don't even know if he's still backing up on Pittsburgh. All I'm saying is the Browns versus the Steelers is historical.
You mean Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate Myles Garrett?
Yeah, I know, right? It's kind of wild. Helps children off the field and abuses children on the field.
Oh God, that's so bad.
Dude,
So
Mason was a. Did you ever see that incident that happened?
No.
Okay.
I'll show you one.
For context, he got into a scuffle with Mason Rudolph, who was the quarterback of the Steelers, and ripped his helmet off, and then swung it at him.
Oh my God!
And gave
his
Rudolph
head.
actually hit him.
Damn.
And
I'll
did
show
he
you the video
did he give him a
on top.
concussion?
I don't think he got a concussion. No.
Okay, well it was not it could have
No.
actually could have
It
killed
could have
him.
been really bad.
Actually could have just straight up ended his career.
Yeah.
So
I could
It
it
honestly
could
could
have ended his
have killed him.
life. Yeah, it could have killed him.
yeah, it was gnarly. So Myles Garrett being a Walter Payton Man of the Year candidate is very hilarious when looking at on the field issues. You low-key could say that about a lot of players who have won that or have been nominated for that Man of the Year award, but I think that one's just the one that's hit the forefront of my brain. That being said, he's a menace to Steelers quarterbacks.
He's just a menace in general.
Yeah, so I'm taking the Browns.
Quarterbacks.
I'm also gonna go with the Browns here. Similar reasoning. I don't think the Steelers have been impressive whatsoever. I mean, obviously they went against one of the top defensive units in the league last season in the 49ers. And while the Browns defense is not nearly on that type of, top of the league level, I still think they're underrated and a very good unit. The Steelers are without Deontay Johnson this week. Kenny Pickett's not very impressive. The Browns defense is just going to smother them. The offense for Cleveland is just going to be all over them all day, and Deshaun Watson is really just going to have his way with them.
I'm just going to say straight up, Deshaun Watson didn't impress me either last week. He only threw for 154 yards, threw a touchdown and a pick. Nick Chubb kind of carried that offense, and the defense just manhandled the Bengals. So I don't know. The offense still, to me, might not be the most solid thing, potentially. But with that being said, Kenny Pickett also didn't look much better. He threw for more yards, but also threw for many more passes. So, and I also think Najee Harris is probably one of the worst most overrated running backs in the league. Just not a good situation for Kenny Pickett and the Steelers right now. I'm gonna take the Browns, but don't let their manhandling of the Bengals in Week 1 really distract you from the fact that Deshaun Watson did not play well at all.
Is that all the games for the week?
That's all the games
that
for
is
the
all the
week.
games for this week.
So with that being said, I think that will wrap it up here for us at Four Score Sports Podcast, your play-by-play source. Again, I am Christian, joined here with Spencer, Michael, Nick, and Brendan. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Have yourselves a good day.